Hi, I'm Melody. Welcome to my channel, Making Melody Crafts. Today I'm going to show you how to make a bow tie, but it's going to be a paper bow tie. So it looks like this, and I'm also going to show you how to make this Father's Day card. And I actually saw this done on Corinne's Creations YouTube channel. And now we're going to go to the cutting station. Alright, today we're going to be using a rotary trimmer. The paper that we'll be using today is Die Cuts with a View. These are actually two fairly old packs of paper, but it doesn't matter. It's an oldie but a goodie. So this is the one color that we're going to be using. Well, the other one is this one right here, this blue and green stripe. So for your base piece, it will need to be 5.5 by 4.25, which will be the finished size of your card, because an A2 size card is 4.25 by 5.5. So this base piece is this piece right here, this darker piece. So that is what we're going to cut. So 5.5, this is the longer side. We've got that at 5.5. So now flip that to 4.25. There we go. And then with this trimmer, just hold it down. I love this Carl trimmer. It's just a beast. That's my beast. And it is awesome. All right, so that is going to be our base piece. That would be the first piece that you glue down on your card. So that would be, glued down like that. But we're not going to do that yet. We're going to finish our cutting, finish all of our trimming. So the actual shirt piece is going to be 5.5 by 4.5. So it's going to be a little bit bigger. And that one is going to be this paper. I just absolutely adore this paper. I'm so glad I had some left. So let's go to, this is obviously, 12 by 12 right now, but that's all right. We're going to trim it down. And I want this longest to be like that. So, if it's a stripe, pay attention to that if it matters to you, which way you want that to go. So that one is done. And then, wait, no, like this. See, that was close. Oh my gosh, I've done that before. Okay, so now I just need this one at 5.5. There we go. There we go. That'll be great. Yeah. So now we've got that piece. So that is like that. What you want to choose for this is choose a double-sided paper or do what I'm doing. And I did my own. So these papers are not double-sided. So what I did was I just glued two together and that worked just fine for me. For this card, you're going to need 5 different pieces of paper. The first one is going to be your outside shirt piece, and that's going to be 4.5 by 5.5. I've already cut that out of that pattern paper. The next one will be the base piece, which is going to be 4.25 by 5.5. And I went ahead and just wrote that right on the back lightly. You can do that, so you can kind of keep them, keep them in order. Then for the bow tie itself, you need a 1" by 4" long piece. So I've already cut that one. That's right there. Then for the bottom piece that goes under the bow tie, in this case, it's that green piece of paper. That one will be 1" by 2 inches. So that's the base piece that'll go under that, and it'll make sense when we make it. I'll show you that in a second. And then the tiny little piece that you're going to need is 1/4 inch by 1 inch. So it's little bitty, so it's just adorable, right? And that goes around the center of the bow tie. In this case, it's this piece right here. Now we can go ahead and make the bow tie first. Why not? So if you have an envelope punch, you can use that, and you would want to go 2 inches in on both sides, on this side and then on this side, and make a little notch. I don't have the envelope punch, and if you don't either, doesn't matter, you won't need it. I'm going to show you what to do. Most people have a playing card around the house, and this corner right here, it's a nice rounded edge, so it gives a really nice look to the center of a bow tie. So now all of these corners, you want to cut these off at a 45-degree angle. All right, so I cut out all the edges there. We get in frame for you there, and then cut off the 45-degree angles here on the sides. So the next thing that you want to do, grab a pencil and just kind of roll that paper and create some curve to it. I'm going to zoom you back out just a little bit because we're in too close now. There we go, that's a little better. And now you're gonna wanna grab some glue, whatever glue it is that you want. We're gonna glue those center pieces together. So meet them in the middle, meet the left and right in the middle, and then glue that down there. This is gonna be the wrong, the underside, and this is gonna be the top side. This just creates a little bit of, 3D effect by using that pencil or, just even your hand, even your fingers to just kind of break up those fibers. So I've got a little piece of scrap paper here and get rid of my scraps from cutting. So now to get these down, so this is the glue that I like. Use whatever kind of glue that you like. You're gonna want something permanent though, if you want it to, stay together. Stay together for a pair of minutes. So get that positioned how I want it, and we're meeting that in the center, and then also you don't want it to hang over. So, when you're doing this by hand, sometimes you'll have to trim it. So I did go back in and kind of trim that up so that it doesn't show on the other side. So that's what you've got once you glue that down. Your next step is grab that little piece that you did, the 1/4 inch by 1 inch, and get that around the center, and that'll create the center of the tie. So it looks pretty cute if you've got your bottom piece that's gonna get glued in like that. It looks pretty cute if you have this as the inside of the shirt. And that's what I mean by that, because when you fold back your double-sided paper, then this will be the inside of the shirt, these two things here, right? So we're gonna get the glue on this and then get this glued down. So again, this is your 1/4 inch by 1 inch piece. And now to wrap that around. And you have a minute with this if you're not using a, glue that dries really quickly. You have a second to get that how you want. You can see on the back side how it is, and then just kind of fold it over. Don't mind that, that's my dog. He's just whining. He's already had his dinner, but of course he is usually begging for more. So that's what you've got there. That's pretty good, I like that. So if in the process of doing this, if you got your tie a little flatter than you want, just go ahead and put your pencil in there and kind of give that the 3D effect again. All right, so I like that, that's pretty good. And now we gotta get this guy glued down onto here. All right, so now that's been all trimmed down and glued down to the paper. On this one, when I made this one, I actually notched out even the bottom piece, this little green piece here. I notched that out as well in the center, but this time I'm gonna leave it alone because I kind of like it like that. So you can do that how you want. And then with the bow tie itself, if you wanted to, you could put a little, brad there, a little sticker, any kind of a little enamel dot, anything that you like. And I'm not sure if I'm going to or not at this point, but that part is done, so we can put that aside for now. These are the brads that I'll be using, and they're little buttons. I don't know if you can see that very well, but they're little tiny buttons for a shirt. So like I said, you needed double-sided paper, yes, and this one, I love these two colors together, and they're again from that Die Cuts with a View pack. Since they're not double-sided, they're just white on the other side, and this blue paper is just white on the other side as well. I went ahead and glued them together. So now I have my double-sided paper, air quotes, double-sided paper. So yeah, so now we're all set with that, right? Okay, so our card base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So now your base piece, which is your 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, or 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, however you'd like to say it, you're gonna glue that piece down. So whatever kind of adhesive you want, you go ahead and grab that and we can glue that down. So that's the card base. So that's what that'll look like right now. Then we're gonna trim this, get our brads in, and then adhere that down, and then our bow tie. So we're almost there. So now on this one, you're gonna cut off 1 1/4 inches from the side. Don't reduce the length. I've done that before. Wow, many times. Keeps life interesting, right? I'm gonna zoom you out a little bit more, just so you can see what I'm doing. Hopefully that wasn't too fast. So this again is your piece that is 5 1/2 or 4 1/2 by 5 1/2. So 4 1/2 here, 5 1/2 here. So I'm taking off from the side, but don't discard this piece when you trim it. Hang on to it because you're gonna need it. So I'm gonna cut off 1 1/4 inches. So, oh my gosh, I feel math coming on. Here we go. Okay, so it's at 4 1/2. We want 1 1/4. So let's go to 3 1/2 and 3 1/4. And we should be good to go. Pull that down, cut that, there you go. So now we've got this piece, which is the smaller piece here on this side of the shirt, right there. And this piece will be tucked under the larger piece, and it'll all make sense once we get that down. So now we're gonna leave the cutting station and go back to the craft table. All right, we're back here at the craft table. So we've cut off this piece, which was the 1/2 inch off this piece, but don't cut it off the length, cut it off the side of that. So that's one part of the shirt, and then this is the other part of the shirt. So this will be the little piece, and this is the larger piece. Now also, I failed to mention this before, but you need to cut off 1/2 inch off of the little piece. So go ahead and just cut 1/2 inch off of that. So this is the double-sided one that you want to have. And again, if you don't have that, just glue 2 pieces together that you like. This one will go down, and you want to glue it down to the bottom of the card. It's going to be a little bit shorter because when you fold it, it'll just make sense when I do it, because you want it to be a little bit, down a little bit more there. So I'm going to get that gluey, and there we go. And then stop, don't go all the way to the top on this piece, because you're going to need to bend it back to make that, to make that curve there. So leave about 1 inch at the top where you don't put any glue, so we can fold it back. And there we go. And we're going to align it to the bottom. So now you're going to take this corner here, and fold it back. You could score it first, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to go ahead and get that folded down there. So that part is down. I'm super happy with that. So now we're going to make the holes for the brads. Measure up from the bottom about, 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch. It's really how you want it to be. And then you're going to do these every inch. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit because I can see that that's hard to see already. And the little mat that I'm using, this is a self-healing mat, but I'm just putting something else on there to kind of, keep it as good as I can. This is an old placemat. Best purchase ever made. I use these all the time. I cut them apart and use them. So, all right. So I've already pre-done some holes here. So again, I went up about 3/4 of an inch. That's where my first one's going to be. So I'm going to make that hole for the brad. So there's the first hole right there. And then I made a little pencil mark already. So we're going to go ahead and do that one and that one. So now we've got those in there. It'll just make it much easier, of course, to get the brads in. So there's the first one. All right, those brads are in there. So those 3 are in, and that's how the back looks. Then we're gonna fold the edge over once we get that glued down. So this piece is gonna come over, and now you can see where it's starting to look like our example. So I'm going to get a bunch of glue on that. I'm actually going to use this glue because it'll be easier for me to get it in the right spot. And I learned an interesting way to hold onto paper when you're adding glue. See how I am doing where I have just my pointer finger and pinky? I saw this on Marami's Small Art, and I think that's how you say it, and Marta was doing it, and I wondered, why does she hold the paper that way? Well, it makes perfect sense, because when you flip it over, you'll see you can hold it without having, your gluey fingers on the front. Since you used your pinky and your pointer finger, now your pointer finger goes on the back and your thumb's on the front. Pretty neat, right? I just liked how she did that. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So now let's get that piece down onto here. And again, whoa, got a lot of glue there. Make sure that your brads don't show from the back to the front, of course, the backing of it. And get that aligned at the bottom. Making sure I'm doing that right. Don't want to make a backwards card. I think it's really fun making a masculine card. I really enjoy it. Okay, so that's done. And then you see as you get here near the top, don't adhere that side down. Now I did make the mistake of getting a little too much glue there, but I'm not worried about it. I can remedy that. So we want these 2 sides to match like our example. So I'm just going to kind of hold this here and keep folding until I get it where I want it to go. You can also leave a little bit of a 3D effect on there so that when you fold it back, that can stay up. All right, let's get, actually I'm going to use this glue because it is fast. And I'm just going to pull that back, and I'm going to try to make it a little bit straight on one of those lines. I didn't do this on the first one. It's a little bit different here, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so there we go. That part is done. And if you do happen to get glue on there, like I did here, you can just let it dry, and then using an eraser, at least the glue, this glue, the Scotch Create by 3M, and you can just erase it off. That'll come off pretty easily, so no worries there. All right, now we can get our bow tie down. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, our Father's Day card video, the first one in this series. And if you did enjoy this, please give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate that. And, you know, share on your social media. That's pretty cool. And subscribe. That really helps me out a lot. All right. So here we go. Now, last piece. There we go. And so just put that down a little bit from the top. So there's our Father's Day card. I hope everybody has a great day, and I'll catch you later.